The tea today is cinnamon and ginger because my cycle came down and was whooping my ass. And this tea gives me a little bit of pain relief, a little bit of comfort, or what have you. I also have been very off of my routine lately, which is also jacking me up. So I'm trying to get my life back together, is basically what I want to say. All right, let's get this party started.
Hey y'all, I'm Kimberland, and this is the Frolicking Truth, a soft space for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal. Here, joy meets justice. We calm our Black ass nervous systems, we unmask, and we leave behind whatever that is trying to kill us. You're seen here, you're safe here, and you don't have to do this alone.
All right, welcome. Welcome to the party. Yeah. All right, hey y'all. What up? Welcome to episode 22 of the Frolicking Truth podcast. And I jacked up the doggone opening again. Get it together, Kimberland. Hey, y'all, come on in, find a comfortable spot, and take a seat. I'm grateful to have you here for episode 22 of the Frolicking Truth podcast for Black women who are tired, brilliant, and ready to heal, where joy meets justice and nervous systems get free. It is okay if you don't identify with any of those descriptors. You are still welcome here. Just make sure when you come up in this piece that you come ready to listen, ready to learn, and ready to support. All right, don't be coming in here with all that foolishness because I'm not having it. That's what I want you to know. I'm telling you that all the time. Um, Side note, I was on the Instagrams the other day and a lot is going on down there on the Instagram. But one of the things that happened is I ran across this post. I'm gonna actually play it. Let me pull it up so y'all can see what the post said. Hold on. Let me get my spectacles together, y'all, so I could see, because you know my eyeballs. And I was doing my hair before this. Me and the inner circle, we're having a chat. It's a lot going on behind the scenes. Oh my God, I have so much I have to tell you all. Okay. Get focused. Get focused. Get focused. All right, here we go. So let me find this post, y'all. So I be on Instagram, but I don't really be on Instagram like that. So you probably got a couple, maybe about 5 or 6 swipes out of me before I be like, all right, I'ma head out. Because it's just a lot that's going on. How do I open this? How do I get? I don't usually use Instagram here on this here computer. I want you to take me to the post, bro. How do this is this is stupid. Okay, let me try this a different way. I feel so old right now. Like I don't know how to make anything work. This is weird. It's really weird. Really, really weird. But here we are. Okay. Un momento, por favor. But let me show y'all what I'm looking at because this is what I do over there on the Instagram is I have a playlist of posts or not a collection of posts about things that are happening. And I've been collecting all of these things since for a long time now because I want to be able to track like how this happened and what's actually going on because a lot of times people don't see everything that is happening, and depending on how you get your media and depending on how you get information and news, you have no idea. So I have been collecting things over here for a while, as you can see. The arsenal is deep. So anyway, yesterday I was on the Instagram and I came across this post. I'm going to play it from my phone here so you all can hear it because I don't know how to pull it up on the computer, and I'll just put it in here and post. Um, Do I need to okay. Flee the country? All right, hold on. So this is a creator, MLCOR Ruthers. Let me see what this man's name is. Oh, Marcus Lamar Carruthers. Oh, ML Carruthers. Marcus Lamar Carruthers. He is an artist, an actor, and his post just came up in one of the swipes that I had. So it says here on the screen, do I need to flee the country? Okay, so he said,
Do I need to flee the country? But then I'm like, but if I flee the country, where am I going to go? Because fascism is on the rise in Europe too. And then I'm like, my ancestors survived here and they made it work. But then I'm like, but the ancestors wanted better for me and they didn't have a choice but to stay, but I might have resources to leave. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe they will want me to leave. And then I'm like, do I have the money to leave? And I'm like, I certainly don't have the energy to fight. Oh my God, I can't fight nothing. I'm not built for that. But then I'm like, maybe I can just go to Canada because it's right there. And then I'm like, is that too close? That might be too close. And you see the far right rising in France and Germany and Italy. And then you start to really think to yourself, is there really a way to escape the tendrils of American imperialism? And maybe it's actually safer to be here than it is to leave. Because I don't want to be on the receiving end of the nukes, right? But I also don't want to be in the country that's shooting them. And then, of course, you start thinking, but if I do leave, do they like black people? You know what I mean? So I'm really confused. I'm really confused.
so that was the post that he made. Canada is problematic too. Now, a lot of stuff has been coming out about Canada, or I've been seeing a lot of things coming up in my feed about Canada because they just had Orange Shirt Day the other day. And Orange Shirt Day represents Indigenous people and the struggle of Indigenous people in Canada and all of the human rights violations that have happened in Canada in regards to Indigenous people. And the Indigenous people in Canada are still fighting for Canada to honor the treaties, just like the US. It's literally, they cousins. They're cousins. I know we think about Canada as if, they got free healthcare and they care about people and all of that. And also, they've also committed crimes against humanity and genocide and have had white superiority complex running rampant. Okay. So, anyway, that can be said for any colonized nation, honestly. So it really is a matter of understanding what's happening globally. So I saw the post and then I went into the comments and I saw it pretty early on when it happened. So what happened is I commented under there and I said, I left in 2021 to start a new life in Colombia. The window is closing. If you want to leave, now is the time to be making moves. It's not as difficult as it may feel. I can help you. So then I have 40 something people that commented under there, and maybe about 12 or so folks who are in the DMs. So said all that to say, I am hosting another session of Finding Peace Abroad this upcoming Sunday because I had talked about this some time ago with Kalanda, who is my cousin, on So You Don't Put Syrup on Your Grilled Cheese. And if I can find a clip, I'll put it in here. But I've said this many times in many different places that there were going to be movements of people. There were people who saw what happened in 2020, 2016, and was like, I'm straight. If we can let that happen, out of here. So there were those people. Then there were those of us that had like the 2020, okay, this is not getting any better type experiences. So then we got out the way. Then there were those in 2024 who were like, okay, I see this man probably about to get back in office. Let me get out the way now. Now there are those in 2025 who are like, this is not good. And I think I really need to leave. right? There are still a couple more movements of people who are going to come after that. So there's going to be a group of people that are going to successfully get out, for instance, before the new year, or like around the new year, before the next wave of fuckery and foolishness comes about. And then there are going to be those that are still gonna be like, I don't know, and trying to convince people, because that was one of the comments somebody had left. They were like, how do you convince people, da da da. And they're also showing up in the expat groups, because there are influxes of people in there as well. So, because people are afraid, and rightfully so, right? But this is the thing that I need to make sure that I impress upon you all. And I'm going all out of order. So, y'all just gonna have to rock with me today, because there's a lot of places we got to go. But you're not convincing nobody of nothing at this point. Okay. If they are not understanding what is happening, and they are not feeling movement because of that, you are not going to be able to convince them. That means that they are either getting their news from sources that are not really talking about what's happening, or they have kind of had ostrich syndrome, and they're just sticking their heads in the sand and just pretending like, if I don't watch the news, then it'll all go away. You're not going to be able to convince anybody to do anything. You, Conte Kalanda say here, you have to show them and take care of yourself first. You cannot convince anybody of anything. If they not ready, they not ready. That's it. And one of the biggest things that I talk about often is the grief that comes with accepting that, and knowing, okay, I'm going to have to leave certain people behind. I'm going to have to like live life without, the way that I thought it was going to be. Like, all of us are experiencing a collective grief, and there is space that you have to create for that. But I need you to let that go. I need you to let that go, because you're not going to be able to convince anybody of anything. You have to do what you need to do for you. And I'll use myself and my cousin as an example, actually. So I left in 2021. So if I had not left, then she very much may not have had an example for how to do that, because I was already gone. She had a soft place to land at my apartment. She had somebody who had already navigated things where she could ask questions, like all of that. So she had guidance to be able to do that. You may be that person for your family. So, and for your loved ones. So you just gotta go. There's a comment, I've very much been an ostrich and I need to do better. It's a lot. It's a lot to process, but we can't wait until it's at our door. So you're either doing one of two things. Like, you are actively preparing to leave, or you're actively preparing for what is about to happen. Because this man has weaponized the U.S. Military. They just had a meeting the other day. So let me get my things up and together. Because I have some things I want to share with y'all. So Pete Hegseth, I believe is this man's name, is the former Secretary of Defense, now called the quote unquote Secretary of War. Okay. And he has said, they just had a meeting the other day where they called all of the people who are generals and who hold positions in the U.S. and called them to this meeting.
We became the woke department. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit.
I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Oh, don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future. But you just feel nice and loose, okay? Because we're all on the same team. And I was told that, sir, you won't hear a murmur in the room. I said, we got to loosen these guys up a little bit. So you just have a good time.
It all starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon. and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And as the chairman said, yes, there is no PT test. But today, at my direction, every member of the Joint Force at every rank is required to take a PT test twice a year, as well as meet height and weight requirements twice a year, every year of service. Also today, at my direction, every warrior across our Joint Force is required to do PT every duty day. Should be common sense. I mean, most units do that already, but we're codifying it. And we're not talking like hot yoga and stretching. Real hard PT, either as a unit or as an individual. At every level, from the Joint Chiefs to everyone in this room to the youngest private, leaders set the standard. And so many of you do this already. Active, Guard, and Reserve.
History is filled with military heroes who took on all enemies, foreign and domestic. You know that phrase? Very well. That's what the oath says, foreign and domestic. Well, we also have domestic. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Grover Cleveland, George Bush, and others all used the armed forces to keep domestic order and peace. Many of our leaders used the military to keep peace. Now they like to say, oh, you're not allowed to use the military.
Secretary of Defense and the President talked to hundreds of the most senior leaders in the military today.
I'm going to be meeting with generals and with admirals and with leaders, and if I don't like somebody, I'm going to fire them right on the spot.
San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within.
The theme of the day is that our military needs to prepare for war. And prepare for war against whom?
We haven't even started yet. Last month, I signed an executive order to provide training for a quick reaction force that can help quell civil disturbances. And this is going to be a big thing for the people in this room because it's the enemy from within. And we have to handle it before it gets out of control.
Our president is telling our top military leaders to prepare for a war with the American citizens from the enemy within, to prepare for war in American cities.
America is under invasion from within. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms. But we are under invasion from within. We're stopping it very quickly.
Trump is just acting like a dictator. This is the most blatant I've ever seen him in a speech. He doesn't care. He's not trying to hide it. He is speaking as if he is a dictator.
If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our Joint Force. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
And this is what they're saying out loud to the public with cameras rolling. Imagine what they're telling these generals in private behind closed doors. Probably goes something like this. You fall in line, you follow our orders, you shoot civilians when we tell you to shoot civilians, or we're going to label you a traitor, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your pension, you're going to go to prison. So we'll see who falls in line and who gets fired. But this was the general's reaction to Keg's breath after he concluded his speech. And this gives me a little bit of hope.
Move out and draw fire. Because we are the War Department. Godspeed.
Attention!
So these are just a few examples. There are many, many more clips that are out there of the types of things that they said to the military. A couple comments here. What the F? This is scary. Not that they haven't been saying it, but it's the audacity to be so bold about it. Correct. So gone are the days where things are like very much undercover and covert. Things are very overt right now. They are giving very clear signals. I also want to show you this video, and this is the kind of stuff that I would see in Pennsylvania And this is what made me be like, let me get the hell up out of here. So I recall when, so I lived in Pennsylvania from August of 2020 through July, August of 2021. So the 2020 election happened in November, and that's when Biden got elected. So remember, it was like a delayed calling of the election. It took a few days. So the election happened on Tuesday. I want to say they called it on a Saturday. I lived in downtown Harrisburg. So Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is the capital of Pennsylvania. And I lived not a short walk, but let's say a 1, maybe 2 mile walk to the Capitol. I don't even know if it was 2 miles. It might have been 1 mile. It really wasn't that long. So I said all that to say the Capitol was very near, and during this time, there were a lot of protests. And Pennsylvania is what they would call at the time a purple state. So that means that it was a swing state. It was very, could go Republican, could go Democratic. Like it just depended on where you was at. Harrisburg, the actual city of Harrisburg, looks on the map like it is a very black area, but basically, and it is, but it is also the type of area where everybody comes here for work and then they go and live and pay taxes somewhere else. So Harrisburg is very much underfunded, and but that's where all the government is. So anyway, because of that, there were a lot of protests that were going on, and there was a Stop the Steal protest that was going on this day that they announced that Joe Biden had won the presidency. So one of my things that I would do all the time is I would go to the market, go to the Amish market, which I don't know if y'all heard that they discovered how autism happens. I'll find that clip in a second. I'll come back to that because anyway, so the Amish market was at in a couple blocks away from my house, and I would go to the Amish market and I would kind of hang out and just sit and people watch and get a chopped salad, and that was my outing. And I might buy some eucalyptus for the shower, and then it was like, oh, I took myself to the market, right? So this particular day, okay, they called the election like, oh my God, we got saved from this crazy ass man, right? So I am like skipping down the street singing Brand New Day from The Wiz. I'm like, can you feel a brand new day? Can you feel a brand new day? I'm like, I'm on that. So I'm skipping down the street, and because I was so close to the Capitol, people are looking for parking to go to this Stop the Steal rally. So I'm skipping down the street in my own world. I don't know if I had my earbuds in, probably. Like I'm just, woo! Biden won the election. Thank you, Lord Jesus. And I look down this side street and I see a group of white men getting off this truck with rifles and whatever. I don't know what size the guns are. I don't know guns like that. So they're getting like off this truck, off the back of this truck with all of these guns. And I was like, let me take my black ass home. And I immediately went back home and was like, I now understand very clearly where the fuck I am. Okay? So the other day in Huntington Beach, this is the caption: fight back against who? Patriot Front, one of the most visible white nationalist groups, is openly marching in California, so that's where Huntington Beach is, chanting Charlie Kirk's name. This isn't random. This is what happens when media figures normalize hate and dehumanization. The rhetoric becomes a rallying cry for fascist movements.
Come on, man. It's time to overthrow the government. What we doing? It's time to overthrow it. Overthrow it, man. White man, fight back. Go get a gun, Brad. Go get a gun. Fight back. Our streets! Our streets! Our streets! Our land! Fuck you all! Our home! Fuck you all! Our land! White man! Fight back! White man! Fight back! White man! Fight back! Fight back! Defend our home! Take Say his name! Charlie Kirk! Say his name! Charlie Kirk! Say his name! Charlie Kirk! Say his name! Charlie Kirk!
As the white population continues to be replaced with a population of non-white, non-Southeast, non-Southern data, it becomes more and more dangerous for us here every day. Every time you go somewhere as a family unit, with your wife and your children, you're surrounded by people that look nothing like you and have disdain for you.
So that happened. There was also an incident at a church. I don't know if I think there was shooting, but there definitely was a truck that was driven into a church which caught on fire, a church of Latter-day Saints, a Mormon church, white people. And guess who the perpetrator was? Another radicalized white man.
And investigators say they have now accounted for all the missing in the shooting at a Mormon church yesterday. 4 people were killed and 8 others injured when, according to officials, an ex-Marine rammed his pickup truck into the church and then set the building on fire. Police spent time combing through the charred building looking for other victims. Authorities have not given a reason why the suspect, Thomas Jacob Sanford, did what he did. But White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told Fox News that FBI Director Kash Patel told her the suspect hated people of the Mormon church. Responding officers to the incident killed Sanford in an exchange of gunfire. Our Scripps News senior national investigative correspondent Lori Jane Gliha is live with us in Denver with a little bit more about what we've learned about the suspect in this case.
Yeah, Stephanie, he comes from a community that was not far from the church, and he also served in the military. And if not for the quick action by police, he might have taken more lives.
Overnight, authorities searched for clues and evidence that might lead to a motive for the deadly shooting and fire at a mid-Michigan Mormon church.
We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that.
I'm the active shooter at the church. I need manpower up here ASAP. I have people trapped in the building.
Hundreds of people, adults and children, were inside the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Lake Township Sunday when a 40-year-old man plowed his truck through the front doors, according to police. Then the suspect started shooting people inside the building with what the police chief described as an assault rifle.
One of our counselors was up speaking, and we heard a big bang and the doors blew. And then everybody rushed out.
Authorities say they believe the suspect, identified as Thomas Jacob Sanford, possibly used gasoline to light the building on fire before law enforcement officers arrived and killed him.
We were on scene within 30 seconds from that original 911 call. Within 8 minutes, that suspect was neutralized in the back parking lot of the church.
Scripps News is learning more about the suspected shooter as the U.S. Marine Corps confirmed he served for 4 years between 2004 and 2008 with a deployment to Iraq as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom. He achieved the rank of sergeant and received a handful of awards, including a Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal, a National Defense Service Medal, and an Iraq Campaign Medal. Close to 2 decades later, he's accused of taking several lives in a community that pledges to stick together as they wait for answers.
Let me say we are heartbroken. This kind of violence doesn't happen in our community.
And there are various federal agencies involved in this investigation, including the ATF and the FBI. The ATF said they found evidence of what they believe to be some suspected explosive devices. The state police also said they searched and cleared multiple churches for bomb threats after receiving several 911 calls. Stephanie.
Laura Jane, you mentioned a number of agencies involved. It seemed like there was a very swift and robust response. So how are all of these different agencies working together?
Yes, well, we know there were a lot of agencies involved: Michigan State Police, Grand Blanc Township Police, even someone who was a conservation officer involved in this. That person credited for helping take down the suspect. We have also learned more information from information sharing that the suspect was also involved in incidents in 2010 involving law enforcement and 2011 related to entering someone's house and also intoxicated driving. Stephanie?
Scripps News senior national investigative correspondent Lori Jane Gliha, who I'm sure will continue to stay on top of this story for us. Thank you very much.
So it's a lot that's going on out here, and I had a episode of some weeks back, maybe a couple months now by this time, where I had mentioned to you all that they are organizing consistently. They are this plan that is happening. There was a video that I watched with Deontay Kyle and Amanda Seales. So Deontay Kyle is the host of Grits and Eggs podcast, fast rising, and he has been really skyrocketed to the top. But anyway, in this conversation, he was talking about, with Amanda Seales, he was talking about a conversation he had with his people. And he was like, we planning day to day and month to month. They're planning decade to decade. The things that are happening right now have been in the works since Ronald Reagan was in office. I was born in 1981. Since 40 years ago, this has been in the making, and we have not had access to the information to be able to do the same types of planning. And those of us who have been ringing the alarm for all this time have very much been seen as outcasts and dramatic, and you just always got a problem and you just making something be more than it is, when we are watching these things happening consistently. If y'all go back and watch the videos where I have been talking about the things that have been happening for 5 years now, and they are happening because I know what I saw, and I know like I saw what I saw. So one of the things that is most important for us is, one, not to panic. So I'm not showing y'all all of this for you to like feel very much scared and, oh my God, what are we going to do? What I need you to do, one, is accept what is happening. So one of the ways that we can do that is by making sure that we are staying connected to sources that are going to give us information that also does not include a whole bunch of commentary and bias and all that kind of stuff. So I want to drop a couple of pages in here that you may want to follow that can help to process some of the things that are happening right now and maybe help you to put words to what you are seeing. One creator that I follow, her name is Ashley the Baroness. And she breaks down situations that are happening or explains particular things that we may have learned in school, such as manifest destiny. So let me share this video so you can kind of just get an idea of her vibe.
Manifest destiny, yeah. Okay. It was in your history books. But how much did they really tell you? Did they tell you it wasn't about destiny? It was about theft, dressed up as prophecy. In the 1800s, politicians and preachers swore that America had a divine right to expand westward. They called it manifest destiny. But let's call it what it really was. A PR campaign for genocide and land grabs. Because under that slogan, the U.S. stole half of Mexico's territory. Texas, California, Arizona, New Mexico. None of that was destiny. It was war, treaties signed at gunpoint, and white men drawing borders that ignored everybody that already lived there. And the biggest lie is that they said it was about freedom. But what did freedom look like? For Native people, it meant slaughter, like the Trail of Tears, like Sand Creek, like Wounded Knee. For Black people, it meant slavery expanding right along with the frontier. Manifest destiny was never about spreading democracy. It was about spreading chains. Even the gold rush, the railroads, the so-called taming of the West, All of it was manifest destiny in action. And every time the prophets went to the white colonizers, all while native nations were erased. Chinese immigrants were exploited and lynched, and Black people were pushed into new systems of labor and segregation. This isn't just history either, right? That mindset that America has the God-given right to take whatever it wants, you still see it in foreign policy, in Iraq and Afghanistan, in the way U.S. corporations strip land in Africa and South America. Manifest destiny never died. It just traded covered wagons for fighter jets and oil rigs. So no, manifest destiny wasn't destiny. It was a sales pitch for white supremacy. And until they stop pretending that it was some sort of noble dream, we're just going to keep living in its shadow, where conquest is called freedom and theft is called God's will.
So she is someone that I feel like she breaks down a lot of information really well. So I think she might be really beneficial to follow so that you can really have an understanding of what's happening. She also made a video talking about Donald Trump talking to the generals. So I think that she would be good. Again, her name is Ashley the Baroness. Then there is a page called So Informed that I follow, and I'll share it on the screen here too. And So Informed really does a good job at highlighting the headline of what is happening and then also just giving the details of what's happening. So sometimes they'll have reels as well where they'll show what's happening. So anyway, So Informed is another page that may be helpful for you. And then there's one more that I wanted to share, and that is Amanda Seals. People have really, really strong feelings about Amanda Seals and her approach and the way that she operates within the world. And, you can feel how you want to feel about Amanda Seals. But one thing I know is that she's a truth teller. And I watch her show because she does a good job at helping you to understand what's happening globally and all the other things that are happening globally. So I had mentioned when I was talking to the inner circle earlier that they had the meeting of the UN, and the UN is the United Nations. That means when the heads of the countries from across the world come together and talk about how they are going to exist, how we supposedly are going to exist as people on this earth. And there were quite a few countries during the UN assembly that declared Palestine a state and declared, and let me say it this way, declared Palestine a country and declared them a country and also demanded an end to this genocide that Israel and the US have been enacting. And several country leaders got up and spoke very, very critically of the United States of America. They had a walkout when Netanyahu, who is the prime minister of Israel, who got up there and started talking. There was a walkout that was led by the vice president of Colombia.
Palestine!
So nations are taking a very firm stand. So one of the reasons that I appreciate Amanda Seals is because she breaks all of that down and also brings people on to speak firsthand about what is happening, and people that are very much connected to what's actually happening on the ground and not connected to politics. Because politicians right now are Not right now, always, but politicians are connected to keeping the status quo and to keeping order instead of doing what is right for the people. So Amanda Seals does a really good job of finding the people. For instance, the Global Samud Flotilla is approaching Gaza right now to provide humanitarian aid and to break this siege that they have had and not allowing humanitarian aid to get to the Palestinian people. And this is a global movement with representation from multiple countries because those countries are also providing a sense of safety for the flotilla as they are trying to get aid to the Palestinian people. And Israel, during the UN speech, basically told countries that if they support this flotilla, that Israel is going to consider them to be enemies. It's a lot. It's a lot that's happening. So I'm gonna pause there because we could be here for hours and I don't have them of talking about all the things that are happening. And I want to talk about what this means for you because I mentioned a little bit ago that I'm not bringing all of this up for this to be a now you pushing a panic alarm and you don't know what to do. I am bringing this up so that you can wrap your mind around what is happening, accept what is happening, and then have the conversations that you need to have with the people that you love and care about what are y'all going to do. If you are going to leave, we need to be getting paperwork, documentation in order. We need to make sure that we are selling things and getting rid of stuff. And that's why so earlier during the inner circle, Content Kalanda was on and she said, they rescheduled the rapture. And I heard about that. And it also made me think about while people are sitting here preparing for the rapture, they really need to be preparing for this. I was gonna say civil war. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to call it, but the uprising and the movements that are about to happen in the United States with the president weaponizing the military against US citizens and saying that there are threats domestic that I want you all to take care of, with him sending the National Guard to cities like Chicago and Memphis. He already is doing it in DC. He's been to Portland. They just sent troops there. So there's a lot that's happening, and though it may not be at your doorstep, I really need you to take the time to think about what this looks like when it does get to your doorstep. Not if, when, because it is coming. Okay. So, having the conversations with the people, what are we going to do? If you are going to leave, now is the time to get those documents in order. I can help you. I'm going to host. So, this is airing on Saturday. I'm recording this on Wednesday, but this is airing on Saturday. I am going to have another session of Finding Peace Abroad for people who are ready to press the go button and you are ready to leave. So I'm going to do an information session for people, and then you can schedule time with me on my calendar to make a strategic plan to be able to go ahead and get the ball moving so that you can get out. You may be somebody who is saying to yourself, I want to leave, but I can't. I have whatever responsibilities, whatever they are. And I'm not here to judge what your responsibilities are. But if you're going to stay, then that means that you need to be thinking about how to insulate yourself in community. Do you know how to grow food? Do you know how to educate your children? Do you know how to protect yourself when things are escalating, right? So you have to think about who's going to be a part of your community and how are you going to insulate yourself from that. Now is not the time to be going on shopping sprees and like just D, right? Now is the time to be strategically thinking, okay, so if shit were to hit the fan, Where are we going to go? Are we going to stay here? Is it just going to be me and you against the world, like you and your partner or your family? Are you going to be with your parents? Do you know people that have land already? Do you know people that have farmland? Do you know people that, like I said, have these different skills? Do you have doctors that are in your village? Do you have scientists that are in your village? Do you have carpenters and people who know how to build stuff in your village? Like, what does that look like? Because we are not quite sure how this is going to shake out and what is going to happen. But what we do know is that the people who are slated to be harmed are people that look like me. So if you are somebody who also looks like me, then we need to be taking this as a very real, incredible threat to our existence. So if you are going to stay or if you cannot leave, then you have to be thinking about these things strategically. How are you going to divorce yourself from capitalism and Uber Eats and like all of this stuff that is draining your money so that you don't have as much mobility to be able to do the things that you need to do? That's the planning. The other part of it is you have to tend to your nervous system. And I know this might feel like an oxymoron. I know it might be like, Kimberland, girl, you just sat up here and told us all of this crazy shit that's happening. And now you want to talk about tend to my nervous system? Yes. Yes. Because y'all know we talk about brain research over here. And if you remain in your downstairs brain, which is your fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, you are not going to be able to access the part of your brain that allows you to strategize and allows you to plan. So you have to be able to calm your nervous system so that you can process the things appropriately and also keep yourself in a state of mind where you are able to think level-headedly and not jump from one fire into the next. So, having said that, I also want to remind you all of the healing circle that I host in conjunction with the Well Educator. Our next session is on Saturday, October 11th, immediately following the Frolicking Truth. So, we'll be at 12:30 p.m. Central Time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And what we do within the healing circle, and this is an exclusive place for Black women. Okay, so I'm sorry if you're listening to this, you're not a Black woman. I invite you to connect. I have a meditation that's on my page, but also it's geared towards Black women. But if you are somebody who does not identify as a Black woman, I am sorry, this space is not for you. But if you do, this is a space for us to be able to come to be seen, to be able to connect back to our breath, to be able to connect back to our bodies, so that we are able to keep ourselves in a stabilized and grounded place so that we can do the strategizing that we need to do. It's a 90-minute session where we do breath work, we do yoga, we also have a time for reflection and affirmations. So if you're saying to yourself, I feel like my nerves is bad, I feel like I'm not breathing, I'm holding a lot of tension, I would like to extend the invitation for you to come to the Healing Circle. It is a very powerful space, I must say. So the way that you would register for that is to go to tinyurl.com/Black Women Healing Circle. And that is how you can register for the Healing Circle and see the dates that we have coming up. It's the second Saturday of each month. Okay, so you can already go ahead and put that into your wellness routine. Speaking of routines, what are we doing for our routines? I must admit, I didn't do an official auntie check-in today, but I've been all over the place with my routines. I just haven't been doing a good job, and I'm trying to get myself back on track with that, because our routines are a part of the things that ground us and help us to stay stabilized. So that is a place for you to do an audit and ask yourself, like, what does this look like and sound like for me? Am I drinking my tea every morning? Am I meditating? Am I actually breathing? Am I getting outside to sit in the sun for a moment? Like, what are the things that help you to remain grounded? Do it. Blowing bubbles. Now is the time that we have to be so intentional about those routines, because so much stuff is happening so quickly that it's throwing us all over the way, every which way but the okay. So what do those routines look like for you? How do you support yourself with those routines, right? The other thing I was gonna say is, y'all know I usually, give updates and all that kind of stuff. And one of the updates that I wanted to give today is what I'm doing with my Patreon, because I am completely the Patreon, just say the Patreon. The Patreon is shifting. The Patreon is shifting, and it is there's a lot of behind the scenes work that's going into it, but I want to try to conceptualize for you what it's going to look like. So basically, here in this space, the Frolicking Truth, I have referenced the Patreon as the inner circle, and the inner circle will remain. The inner circle is going to be the place where you will be able to come to get information about me, Kimberland, and the things that are happening behind the scenes, the things that are coming from my mouth as the founder of Minding My Black Ass Business. But I'm shifting the Patreon to really be a collection of people who are not necessarily just here for me. I mentioned to you all a couple times we're working on a new project and a new podcast that will be premiering soon, and you'll meet the hosts and all of that. And that is giving us an opportunity to use Minding My Black Ass Business as a pipeline to be able to give people a platform to have their voices heard, because we already have a following here, and the people that are here for a particular reason, and you're looking for particular types of content and particular types of people. So this new podcast that we have, for example, is an opportunity for you to be able to increase your understanding and your framework and network of different creators that are also out here doing other things. So you will see that pretty soon. But basically, what will happen is the name of the Patreon is the whole Patreon is changing. I'm not going to announce it this week. I'll actually talk about it next week. But the whole name of the Patreon is changing. We're going to have an emoji for Minding My Black Ass Business, the universe. And then each of the spaces, for instance, so you don't put syrup on your grilled cheese, the Frolicking Truth, our new podcast, those spaces will have their individual emojis and individual ways that they show up. And then Minding My Black Ass Business as a collective will show up in a particular way. So when you pay your $5, you are going to get access to all of that. So you are able to get into the Patreon and get different pathways and collections of information. So for instance, there is going to be a pathway where we're in collection where we're talking about activism and what that looks like, and how can you use your platform to be able to support yourself in understanding and decolonizing and thinking about the different shifts that you can be making to support yourself and the people that you love and care about. There's also going to be a healing path, for instance, where we're going to be talking about herbalism. That's where some of our classes are going to live. When I tell you that I'm making different products or I'm doing teas and sharing recipes, so we're going to have that pathway. There's also going to be a pathway of these are where the different voices live that live here. So these are the different podcasts that you're able to hear from. And educate yourself and or get some laughs, because this is the thing too. I don't want you to think it's all about serious, because I can be a very unserious person, right? And a part of our resistance is also to have joy and to give ourselves the opportunity to be able to experience joy, because we are human beings. So it's not just all serious, though this space and Minding My Black Ass Business is very much about activism. It's also about shenanigans and carrying on and things. So there's also going to be opportunities to laugh and behind the scenes stuff and girls' nights and come and paint with us and come and do hair with us and like all of that kind of stuff. So that'll also live in there. The point is, it's only $5 to get up in the room. It's only $5 to get up in the room, okay? Because as I don't know, I didn't mention this earlier, but we also got word, we being people that are connected to things, we also got word that all of the mainstream media outlets, and we already know that all of the social media outlets are now owned by billionaires. So that means that we cannot rely on those outlets to be here for however long here is, right? Because once they decide to silence certain things, there's a new TikTok sale that has happened, that algorithm is going to be completely different. It's going to operate completely different. The government is going to be in complete control over what you see and what gets seen. So that is not going to be a place to really be able to talk freely, right? So Patreon is a place where that can happen. And again, it's only $5 a month. The other thing is that they're going to be, I have some new merch that I'm going to be releasing. So you'll get discounts on that. You'll also get discounts to services. So for instance, like coaching services or opportunities to be able to enroll and discover your destiny, or into the melanated life coaching. Like, because you are in here for this $5 a month, you get access to all of this. So I'm building out the new structure and restructuring everything now so that when you get in there, it makes sense. If you're already in here, I appreciate you. When I tell you I appreciate you, my God, today, I appreciate you because you've grown with me through all of these transitions and really trying to think about the best way to be able to structure things so that we are able to keep ourselves safe. That is my goal, for us to be connected and to be able to keep ourselves safe and insulated from all of the stuff that is about to happen, and to have access to people who are able to support us and help us to think through how we can be as sustainable as possible. So, yeah, I invite you to come into the into the inner circle and into the Patreon. And again, I'll give more information about that so that you will know what that looks like and sounds like, and have more information about how to navigate and all that kind of stuff. My brand bestie is on with me. She said, as your brand bestie, I am very excited. As your audience, I am very excited. Yes, merch. So yeah, it's a lot, that's going on, and it's a lot that we have been thinking about. As your friend, I am very excited. I love that. Love you so much. I'm so appreciative for you. I wish I had the words to help you to understand how appreciative I am. But yeah, y'all, so we want to get connected. Like, that is the biggest thing, is to make sure that we're connected, and we're connected to people who are willing to also exist in safe community. So I've been asking this question for several weeks now as far as our soul work, and I think it is so important for us to continue to ask ourselves, what characteristics do we need to feel safe in community? Whether that's a sisterhood, a friendship, a partnership, what do you need to see, feel, know to know that this is a safe place for you? This is so important right now with everything that's going on, because sometimes people present themselves as safe, and then you ask them the right question, and then you find out that they were never safe at all. And we want to, as much as possible, limit that, so we don't have people within our safe communities thinking we can trust them and they're actually there to cause us harm. And we need to be really, really intentional about that more today than ever before. So, what characteristics do you need to feel safe in community? I want you to drop that into the comments so that we can have this collective list, and so you can say for yourself, because you may not have ever asked yourself that question. And I think it's a foundational question to really ask about what that looks like and sounds like. I want to uplift again that Finding Peace Abroad is going to happen on Sunday, October 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Sunday, October 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Finding Peace Abroad is going to happen again. It's a 1 hour information session and Q&A, where you are able to get some foundational information about what it would look like if you do choose to leave the U.S. And you are also able to get an opportunity to ask questions of myself, who has been outside of the U.S. since 2021. If you go to tinyurl.com/FPA102025, tinyurl.com/FPA for Finding Peace Abroad 10/2025. That is how you will register for the Finding Peace Abroad session. It is a Zoom session. I am requiring cameras to be on. I need to know who I'm talking to. Okay. And there is a registration and there is approval for that registration. Because again, I need to know. I need to have information about who's coming into the room, who we're talking to, because this is a place for us to find safe community. Okay. So tinyurl.com/FPA 10/20/25. Thank you for putting that into the chat. That's how you can register for Finding Peace Abroad. And I think I'm going to do it a few times. I think I have 3 that are scheduled over the next month or so, so that if this Sunday doesn't work, you have, I think it's the 5th, the 19th, and then there's a November date, I think November 2nd maybe. So you have a few opportunities, but that's I'm doing what I can. Okay, I'm doing what I can for the people. So again, Finding Peace Abroad is coming back. So if you're feeling called to do that, please do find yourself in that space. Again, remembering that you will be required to turn on your camera. All right. Oh, I did not do our subscriber update. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. We got to fix that. So let me get up our official subscriber count. All right. So last week we were at 1,443 subscribers. This week we are at, drum roll, we are at 1,455 subscribers as of today. Now, today is Wednesday. What I also anticipate is that some of the folks that are over on Instagram are going to wind up coming over here to join us, because on Instagram, I think I got like 100 followers from that exchange that I told you about there on that gentleman's video. So I anticipate that more people are going to be coming, right? So when the people come, y'all, let's make sure we welcome them and, say hey and make sure that we invite them into community. Now is a scary time and people are kind of tiptoeing and not quite sure. They're looking for the people and they've been looking. And when you find people that seem like they align, then it's like, is this really, are these people really safe? Like, are they? I think they are. So we want to make sure that we are hospitable over here, that we are compassionate and understanding and showing ourselves to be friends and friendly to people who are coming. So shout out to our new subscribers. Please do go ahead and say hey in the comments. Let me know what brought you over here to Minding My Black Ass Business, what brought you here to the Frolicking Truth. Our emojis over here is the sunflower primarily. We also use the crayon that is attached to me. So yeah, drop some emojis into the comments if you don't know what else to say. If you are thinking to yourself, I think I kind of like it here, I want to remind you that we do live premieres of this podcast every Saturday at 11 a.m. Colombian Standard Time. Right now until November, that is going to be aligned with Central Standard Time. After November, that is going to be aligned with Eastern Standard Time. But what is always going to be on is Colombian Standard Time, okay? So 11 a.m. Colombian Standard Time is where we gather and we are able to watch the live premiere together. I'm in the chat. The community is in the chat. We're having a good time. Now, if you want an extra added level of access, that's when you got to come on in the Patreon, because shout out to the Inner Circle is here. Brand Bestie is here. Let's Talk Sis, Content Kalanda, Toolshed, Bianca. Like, they come and they hang out and they're a part of the inner circle. So then you also have the opportunity to talk to me during the show and co-create the show and really be a part of what we're creating here. All right. So if you are wanting to do that, go to patreon.com/minding my black ass business. And that is how you can get into the Patreon gates. And then I promise I'm getting things set up so that you're able to get directed to all of the things that I mentioned a moment ago. I think that's it, y'all. But guess what? I don't have a quote for today. So let me find us a quote to get us on out of here. Saying this again because I don't know if you've seen it. Thank you. Thank you for being bold, telling the truth, sharing your experiences, your platform, and your spirit. Thank you. That means a lot. I do all I can to try to support the people. I really do. And I try to do as much as I can to do it for free. I never want I never want access to information to be so gatekept that someone is stuck because they didn't have money. So I try to give as much as I can for free, but I also everything can't be free, right? So that $5 a month that'll get you in the dough to be able to get a whole lot of extra support and community. All right, let me look for my quote, y'all. Hold on, and let's say gundo or whatever. It's raining. I love it when it rains here. It's my favorite thing. It feels like it just clears the air. Oh, this is the one I'm gonna use. And also I want to say rest in peace to Asada Shakur, who passed away last Thursday, September 25th. In Havana, Cuba. She was 78 years old. If you do not know who Asada Shakur is, I really do recommend that you do some research about who she is. She was a member of the Black Panther Party, of the Black Liberation Movement, and found exile in Cuba from the United States government. She is somebody who I have drawn close to her story as I walk through my own experiences. But at any rate, she passed away, and she passed away free because just recently they had tried to get Cuba to extradite her on some charges that she maintained her innocence for. So today's quote is from Asada Shakur. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our change. And I know that the enemy that we know and the oppression that we have known can feel comfortable. But I submit to you that there is a way for us to be able to experience more freedom and to truly honor our humanity. So while it may be scary, I am wanting to hold your hand as we figure out what liberation looks like for us and really honoring who we are as people, who we are as sisters, who we are as community. So everybody take a deep collective breath. We have enough collective wisdom to be able to support ourselves. It is only necessary for us to align. Okay? So hopefully in light of everything that we have talked about here today, that you feel more educated, but also that you feel more supported. Please leave in the comments anything that resonated with you. If you have any questions, anything like that, please do that. If you don't have anything to say, but you just want to leave support, feel free to throw some sunflowers into the comments. That also supports me. Okay, it lets me know that you're here and that you are listening. All right. Until next time, I will see y'all. Hopefully I'll see you at the Healing Circle, or I'll see you at Finding Peace Abroad as well. All right, y'all. Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Frolicking Truth, where joy meets justice and our nervous systems get free. Please be sure to like, rate, and comment. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Minding My Black Ass Business, and follow me on all social platforms. Until next time.